Whispers in the Porridge. When I was a child, I used to believe evil had a face. Dark, monstrous, something you could recognize the moment you saw it. But as I grew older, I learned that real evil wears a smile, cooks breakfast, and says goodnight like everyone else. That's how it all began. I always thought the porridge my stepmother made tasted strange. That morning, something in the air felt different. I leaned closer to the bowl and inhaled. The smell was sharp, metallic, almost sickly sweet. My stomach turned. Something was wrong. My heart began to pound. I jumped off the bed, went to the fridge, empty. Nothing but half-spoiled milk and an open jar of pickles. Desperation took over. I grabbed a cardboard box from the cupboard, poured the porridge inside, sealed it, and reached for my phone. I called my friend, whispering, "Come over, please. I think she's trying to poison me." But before I could reach the door, she appeared, my stepmother, blocking the kitchen entrance. Her smile was calm, but her eyes, they flickered with something unreadable. "Where are you going, dear?" she asked softly. I froze. My throat tightened. Then she looked down. A small puddle spread across the tiles. Water was dripping from my backpack. She frowned, walked closer, and tried to help wipe it with a towel. My hands trembled. I couldn't speak. I couldn't breathe. I turned sharply and walked past her without a word. She didn't chase me. I saw her kneel down to clean the floor. But as soon as she touched the liquid, her hand stopped. Her face changed. Confusion, realization, fear. Because it wasn't water. She must have known then that I'd poured out the porridge. I walked until I reached the park, where my friend was waiting. I told him everything. The smell, the porridge, my suspicion. He frowned, said I was overreacting again. "You need to stop doubting her," he told me gently. "It's your mind playing tricks on you." That word, mind, made something in me snap. I screamed, so loudly that birds scattered from the trees. My friend stepped back, pale, and ran off without another word. That evening, my stepmother cooked steak. The smell filled the whole house. Savory, rich, perfect. My father cut into his piece, smiled, and said it was delicious. I just sat there, staring. When he asked why I wasn't eating, I said my steak was too fatty and asked to trade. He shrugged, ready to switch. But my stepmother's fork froze midair. Her voice trembled, not with fear, but fury. "No, each steak is cooked for a reason. You can't just change it." "It's just steak," my father said. "It's not just steak," she snapped, her eyes darting toward me. The silence after that was unbearable. My pulse roared in my ears. I stood up, grabbed my plate, and ran to the kitchen. "What are you doing?" Father called after me. "I'm collecting evidence," I shouted. "Because she poisoned it too." He stormed after me, trying to grab the plate, but I pushed him away. He stumbled, shocked. Everyone froze. My stepmother reached for her phone, whispering something. "Police, I think." My younger brother Jack ran over, begging me to stop. "You're scaring everyone," he cried. But I couldn't stop. I needed proof. I raced upstairs, slammed the door of my father's room, and started searching through his closet. Papers, bottles, photos. My hands were shaking uncontrollably. I was sure I'd find something. And then, I did. Hidden behind a box of old clothes was a photograph. My father and her, my stepmother, together, smiling. Dates scribbled on the back. The same dates when my mother's condition had suddenly worsened. It all came flooding back. When Mom was sick, she'd been stable. Then we hired a nurse. That nurse was her. After that, Mom declined so fast the doctors couldn't explain it. And soon after, she died. My father had started seeing the nurse long before that. The nurse who became my stepmother. I stormed downstairs, trembling with rage. Jack was standing in the hall. My father turned to me, his face pale. I threw the photo on the floor and shouted, "You knew. You were with her while Mom was dying." Jack's voice was quiet, almost pleading. "Dad loved Mom, but things change. You have to respect his choice." Respect. The word burned through me. I looked at them. My father, the woman who might have killed my mother, and my brother, who didn't want to see the truth. My world collapsed in that moment. not from poison, but from betrayal. And as the sirens echoed outside, I finally understood. Sometimes the most dangerous poison isn't in your food, it's in your trust. The sirens grew louder until they stopped right outside our house. Blue and red lights flashed through the curtains, painting the walls in trembling color. My heart raced as the police entered. 2 officers, calm but firm. My father tried to explain, his hands shaking, voice trembling, saying I'd been unstable since Mom's death, that I was imagining things. My stepmother clung to his arm, pretending to be terrified. She even started crying. I just stood there, clutching the plastic bag with the stake, my supposed evidence. The officers asked me to put it down. I did, slowly. I tried to tell them about the porridge, the smell, the stake, the photograph, the nurse. But the more I spoke, the crazier I sounded. My voice cracked. My breathing quickened. My words tumbled over each other. One officer sighed, then looked at my father and whispered something. A few minutes later, a medical van arrived. They said they just wanted to check on me. I screamed that I wasn't crazy, that they were blind, she killed my mother. But no one listened. My brother hid behind my father. My stepmother sobbed dramatically, and my father just stood there, defeated, tired, ashamed. They took me away that night. The psychiatric hospital was cold and sterile. White walls, white sheets, white silence. They gave me pills that made my thoughts blur, made my anger quiet. I started doubting myself. Maybe I was losing it. Maybe the porridge smell was just in my head. But then, one day, my friend, the same one who'd run from me, came to visit. He looked nervous, almost guilty. He sat down, avoided my eyes, and whispered, "Daniel, your stepmother was taken in for questioning." My heart stopped. What? Why? They found something. Your brother got sick last week, stomach poisoning. It wasn't serious, but the doctors ran tests. They found traces of barbiturates in his system. I froze. Everything went silent. She said it was an accident, he continued, but the police started checking her background. Turns out she was investigated once before, years ago, when an elderly patient of hers died suddenly. They couldn't prove anything then. He looked up finally. "Daniel, you were right. I didn't cry. I couldn't. I just sat there, numb. The truth I'd been screaming about for months was finally real. But it didn't feel like victory. It felt like ashes. 2 weeks later, they released me. My father didn't come. My brother did. He looked broken, older. Dad's gone away, he said quietly. He can't face anyone right now. I nodded. I didn't ask where he went. When I came home, the house felt haunted, not by ghosts, but by memories. My mother's perfume still lingered faintly in the old bedroom. I opened her photo album and saw her smiling, alive, before everything fell apart. I walked to the kitchen, the same one where she used to cook oatmeal for me when I was little. I opened the cupboard and found one of her old teacups. Cracked, faded. I poured water into it, sat down, and whispered, "I tried, Mom. I really tried." Months passed. My stepmother was arrested. They found evidence, traces of poison in her medicine cabinet, old medical records, prescriptions under fake names. My mother's case was reopened. My father returned eventually, older, thinner, with guilt etched into every line of his face. He couldn't meet my eyes. We sat in silence for a long time until he finally whispered, "I should have believed you." I didn't answer. Some wounds don't heal with apologies. Now, years later, I live far away from that house. I work quietly. I keep to myself, and I never eat anything I didn't cook with my own hands. But sometimes late at night, I still wake up from dreams, the smell of porridge, the echo of sirens, my stepmother's cold eyes. And yet, strangely, I'm not angry anymore. I just understand. Evil doesn't always announce itself with violence. Sometimes it hides behind love, patience, and gentle words. The world once believed I was insane, but truth, like poison, always finds its way to the surface. Sometimes. The only difference between madness and truth is time and the courage to keep believing when no one else does.